정상에서 떨어지셨다고 봐야지. 저기, 저기, 여기.
Decision to leave. So this particular film is an interesting one. It's got a main character called Yang, who's a detective, and he's trying to solve a murder case. And he suspects Song in the film, which is a very beautiful lady. She plays a Chinese lady in the film, of potentially killing her husband. And that's kind of the context of the film in its simplicity. The film's directed by Park Chan-wook, who you might be familiar with his works with Old Boy, and he also was a producer on Snowpiecer, the film, and Handmaiden as well, if you've seen that. But Alex, what did we make of this feature?
Yeah, I mean, this director will always surprise you in the way it directs, basically. So this film is no different. It's got, from a directing point of view, is very well lit. I don't think I've seen recently films as good as perfectly light exactly where it needed to be, moody, and the right tone and everything is just fantastic. It almost reminded me like of David Fincher, of how clean and good looking this film is, because of the director. But the story in itself it follows these two characters. So is the detective Young, I believe is his name, and then Yang is his name, and then she's
Yang,
Song,
yeah.
I believe. So, but she's a Chinese immigrant with sort of mysterious background. He falls for her, and the film just shows how he continuously falls for her. It's like indefinitely he falls for her all the time. And we're trying to guess as an audience is almost like there's two games. The first game is the game of him trying to understand if she's guilty of murdering her husband, and the game of him trying to see if he's gonna or she's gonna accept his advances sort of as a potential love mate. That's what I got initially to start with. What about you, Buzz?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, as you say, one of the big perks of this film is how clean it looks. Some of the scenes are just a pleasure to watch them. So that's definitely a point worth mentioning. But yeah, I'd agree. There's a few games going on in this film. This chap. Song actually describes him, the detective, as dignified in the film. That it's a man with some dignity, but he seems to that dignification that he has about himself seems to kind of collapse under the pretext of falling for someone, and in this case it's her, and he kind of lets his guard down. I don't know if you got that from the film or not, but he kind of lets his guard down a lot, and he starts kind of letting Song into his life once he's decided that actually she hasn't murdered her first husband, and that kind of lets him get a bit more personal with her and stuff like that. But he kind of finds out a few times in the film that he's going against himself by doing that, because he really appreciates the job that he has and how good he is at his job, and yet he can't the task of not falling for her is very difficult. But yeah, did you find the acting in this film on par, Alex?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, absolutely. There's no issue at all with the acting for both of them, all of them actually. Very good. There's funny moments too in the beginning. I mean, the first hour and a half is just brilliant, because you watch this detective and basically turning into almost like a stalker, following her around and all of it, and then she picks up on it, and she sees, even though it's completely unethical because she's a suspect in a murder case. But the play between them for literally about half of the film, it keeps going and it keeps going. But at one point, you never get to a satisfaction, a fulfillment of that relationship, or a result? Is that going to become? Are they going to become something, or are they going to? Is not going to work out? What's the conclusion of this teasing each other and foreplay almost?
Yeah.
Like where does it go? That's what
Exactly.
are your thoughts on that?
I mean, you know, as far as love stories go, it's not stereotypical, is it? You know, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say that, you know, you only actually see them kiss once, I believe, from my recollection, and you know, I'm not complaining. You know, we've seen the archetypal love story and it gets boring. So, you know, if we're trying something new here, that's fine. But as you say, there's almost kind of you know. A longing for maybe something to conjure out of that situation, because you often think, well, who's benefiting from this newly formed romance between the two of them? And I think the film, for me, what it lacks a little bit is some kind of clarity on what the characters want. You know, and if they're actually striving for the right things, because I think that was a little bit lost. And I think the first half of the movie was, you know, quite good and you could get on board with it, but the second half, it kind of leaves you with this kind of, like I say, this longing for, you know, maybe for the story to progress a little bit more in terms of them two and the relationship that they might have. I don't know if you felt that as well.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, the two games, like we said, is like the case continues to become more mysterious with more clues, so that develops sort of and adds to the tension and adds to the mystery around this person, that is this woman that is potentially is guilty, but then the love story or potential love story never gets finished, and it's like, I don't need to see a happy ending and I don't need to see a sad ending. I just need to see an ending of this teasing. And it almost makes me think, was that on purpose? Is that on purpose to keep the audience like that all the time? I don't know if the director had that purpose in mind, or the writer had that purpose in mind. But it does that. If that was the purpose, it does that very well.
Yeah. You see, if it was meant to be ambiguous, you know, a bit of a Sopranos ending, you know, where you kind of have to make your mind up what happens. If it was meant to be like that, you know, sometimes I quite like that in movie making, when you can kind of decide, you know, what the ending's meant to mean, or there's some questions. With this one, I found it a little bit frustrating, because I feel like there was a lot of things that, you know, could have gone somewhere or were unexplored or what have you. But anyway, yeah, not to focus on that too much. I thought this film was very, like you say, it's very clean looking. It was very different. I liked the kind of almost like there's a lot of sequences where, did you notice where the character's meant to be narrating on their own, or the character's meant to be narrating about someone else, but they're in the screen, in the shots.
I
they
love
were
that.
actually in the
That's a
same room
technique.
with them, and it's
That's
almost
a
a bit like
signature technique.
dreamlike. Yeah. So I don't know if he's used that before, this director, but it's almost a bit dreamlike, and I really like that. And also just the use of technology, the use of phones, which was quite heavily done in this. Did you appreciate that?
Absolutely.
And was it done well?
It feels like it's recent. You know, this is a 2022 film, and it feels like it's from today. It's not in the past in any shape or form. It just felt, But no, those are signature shots of the director. I mean, my favorite is still the Handmaiden. That he's got in, you know, even more than Old Boy, but he's got a lot of the stuff that he's done is very good. So this is not his best film, but it's not a bad film in any shape or form. Definitely worth what we spent on it on Prime to rent it. So yeah, absolutely worth watching.
Thank you for watching our review of Decision to Leave. Please like and subscribe as always. And if you'd want to watch another interesting review that we have on our channel, why not try this video here, which is Another Round, which is one of my personal favourites. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.